Leroy, the Black Ninja Turtle, is saying here, are there any good defensive linemen left in the 24 class, or should we be looking to go real big in the 25 class?
Great question. It's a little bit of both. So where this comes from is Aiden Breland from Mater Dei in California, committed to Oregon recently, and Armando Blunt from Miami Central, formerly Fort Lauderdale Dillard, flipped to Florida State after having gone there for a couple of visits. And like I said, and like people told me I was off base with, but I know when I tell you something, I know something. I don't just make stuff up. But like I told you, had been on the table and likely since his freshman year at Dillard, Armando Blunt is reclassified to 2024. So he will be in this current year's class. Like I said. Anyways, in terms of linemen that are out there, you might have to look at some. LJ McCray from Daytona Mainland also committed to the University of Florida last week as well. So if you're looking, that's like, the last couple of dudes that we've been after along the defensive line have gone elsewhere, or in one case flipped. So are there guys, like there are guys out there. I need to go to offers. So number one, don't think that like Miami cannot flip somebody from another school at defensive line, because they can. And also Miami did get a commitment from Booker Pickett Jr., whose father played at Miami as a 6'3", 6'4", 205, 210-ish edge rusher. So like we have some edge rushers in this class, but specifically like you're talking about interior linemen, right? So those guys are few and far between. But like if you look, Justin Scott whiffed on that. Aiden Breland whiffed on that. David Stone whiffed on that. Armando Blunt, they don't have him right now, is committed to Florida State. I don't know why, but whiffed on that. Cam Franklin from Mississippi whiffed on that. So it's like you're going to have to try to maybe make a late run at somebody or flip somebody, I think. You have Artavius Jones from Bluntstown, who is committed, and he's to play defensive tackle in this class. I think that's a good get. But yeah, maybe you're going to have to look into the transfer portal. Now, we did get Jamil Burrows transferred from Alabama before the season. He's sitting out this year, so he'll have the rest of his eligibility moving forward. But in terms of high schools recruiting, you might need to look at the transfer portal for now, and then follow that up with going big in 25 in terms of point of attack, larger bodies on the defensive line. But we will see what happens. But as long as the coaching continues along the path that it is, I think that we can survive it. But like, again, all those names that I mentioned, Joe Salaveo, what are we doing, guy? And his position is playing really well, but in terms of talent acquisition, which is what this staff was really brought here for, Joe's grade it would be a very ugly one if I were to give one.
Folks, we have a Discord link where you can talk college football, talk Miami all the time, 24/7, 365. You get that by being a YouTube member on the main channel or patreon.com/MarkRogersTV. You get my picks, and you get Steve Merrill from Wager Talk, 17-4 against the spread. So that, again, that's being a YouTube member over on the main channel or on Patreon. So check that out. Is there anything else I wanted to hit up here tonight? I think I've hit everything that I wanted to touch on. No more questions or comments in the chat. I reached out to a Virginia 247 sports person who was en route, and they didn't know if they'd be able to make it. So I guess not.
Okay.
But
no, and I mean, hey, I'm fine with that. yeah, hey, look, Miami, at least one thing I will say to wrap up is the losing streak stopped it too. Now, hopefully, obviously, we back up last week's win, big win against Clemson, because that was a monkey off the back moment, because again, they had kicked our teeth in repeatedly. But hopefully, again, we back that up with another strong effort this weekend, earn victory, and continue to move forward. So, and then after this, you got a couple games on the road before Senior Day, but a couple of big games. North Carolina State next week, and then on Veterans Day, November the 11th, that's the big one. Florida State up in Tallahassee. So, and also I love the fact that, like, just shutting people up, and I love, I know Bud Elliott, and I know that he does it for engagement, but like so is Miami just going to be mid and give a home run effort against Florida State? Same thing y'all did, been doing. Everybody knows on both sides, this game is not like the others. Y'all are not a championship, or have not been the championship caliber team for a long time. So there have been years when they were terrible and then gave their home run effort against us. So, I mean, like, first of all, miss me with that. And also, and I tweeted it out multiple times during the game, I know that people say that it's only 12 people that go to Miami games. I know that, that they are, kickback, max, relax, all cool, and like don't give a shit about football and everything, right? But every team that comes into Hard Rock Stadium has trouble communicating on third down and has to take timeouts because the play clock got down because they couldn't hear and couldn't communicate. It's weird. It's odd. It's interesting to your boy. And I know it is not, the loudest stadium in the world. It's not Husky Stadium in Washington that's, designed to keep all the sound in, that the 2000 Miami team, that's where they lost. And everybody said that, even my friend who was a male cheerleader and went out there for that game said, the loudest game I've been a part of. And he played basketball and football growing up in North Carolina, right? So he was like, man, I had never been in a stadium that was that kind of loud. I'm not saying that that's Miami every week, but everybody always wants to talk about it's no home field advantage. It's not tough to play there and da-da-da-da. But every single freaking week, other teams, when this fan base, small though it may be, turns the volume up to 12 on third down, all of a sudden the other team can't hear and calling timeouts. Make it make sense. Because apparently that's artificial. Apparently there's nothing going on. Apparently it's just a light breeze with a couple birds chirping, but every single week the other team struggles to hear here. Interesting to me.
I'm going to support that comment on one hand, and I'm going to push back on it on another. The support would be, when you say a small fan base, that's a small in-person fan base. Of course, the fan base is mammoth. Point number two, I'm guessing that if you were a alum and fan of, pick your school, LSU, Clemson, wherever, where the stadium was full, that you would have fun with that as well.
Until I went there and I heard it. Until my team went there and couldn't communicate on third down, right? Or fourth down or something like that. Even in a game that other team might have won, right? You know what I mean? I'm not saying that it's perfect. I'm not saying that there's no communication ever. I'm saying, sure, hey, man, just real recognize real. That was maybe a little bit more of an atmosphere. They got a little bit more turned on money downs because they are good football fans. They pay attention. And it might only be 12 of them, but, 44,000 Miami fans, like loud people from South Florida, it gets loud in there. That's all I'm saying. So just put the disrespect to the side, right? And again, look at every single game, because it's happened every single game. Opposing team calling a timeout because they can't hear and they can't communicate on a money down. It has happened. So just put some respect on the name of the fans who are in the stands, giving all that they can give, yelling, screaming, supporting this team through thick and thin. Because again, we don't got no fair weather fans. Because where has the weather been fair enough for all of a sudden for people to hop on the bandwagon and want to be like, oh, this championship level, those people are legal now. You know what I mean? Like championship level Miami team. Like, yeah, every last one of those people who like had sentient memories of those times can go wherever they want and purchase alcohol of their own volition with, you know what I mean? Like it's been a while. So I just want to, shout out to the fans, give the respect. And again, it's not all game, every single play, as it is in some of these other places. So I'm not saying it's the loudest. I'm not saying it is the best atmosphere. I'm not saying it's the most turned or anything like that. But when it needs to get there, it gets there invariably. Trust.
You're focused on the impact. I think some people are focused on what it looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
Hey, but again, even with what it looks like, the impact is there. So like, hey, maybe take a look at that. And remember, in the Texas A&M game, there was a penalty called on a play against Kiko Mawaganoa because the umpire and the center judge were blowing their whistles in the middle of the formation and nobody heard it.